Throughout the early 90s, American laser games were pretty popular. For those of you who don't remember, the company made light gun games, but they were very different from other light gun games at the time. This is because they used live-action footage instead of traditional graphics. These games had a feeling similar to Dragon's Lair, in which you must shoot at the right time, or you lose a life. Now I could talk a lot about all of them for hours on end, but let's just focus on one for now. Fast Draw Showdown. Fast Draw Showdown was first released in the arcades in 1994. The game was later ported to WiiWare on January 4th, 2010. It was later ported to PSN on July 19th, 2011. We're going to take a look at the PSN version, as I feel that's the superior version. I'll get into why later on. And speaking of PSN, you will need a PlayStation Move for this game. Just a heads up. Before you start the game, you have to select the difficulty. There are 3 of them to choose from: Deputy, Sheriff, and Marshal, aka Easy, Medium, and Hard. Deputy will give you the cue when to draw your gun. That's removed in Sheriff and Marshal. Marshal also may have some opponents have slightly faster times compared to other difficulties, and you won't be able to reload. The gameplay itself is simple. Holster your gun by pointing down off screen. Wait for the cue, then draw. That's it. The opponents will start off easy, but as you go through the 8 rounds, they get faster. Also, if you don't shoot certain opponents in the head, you'll have to pump another bullet in them to finish them. This happened less in the Wii version, and I'm not sure why it was changed in this version. Maybe to make the game harder? I guess. The gameplay is simple and easy to pick up on. Given the type of game this is, the gameplay doesn't need to be complicated, and it's not. Though some of the opponents can be way too fast. It's even harder to do in the WiiWare version given how there's a split-second delay in drawing your gun. However, this problem has been axed in the PSN version because it's actually programmed right. Also in the WiiWare version, if you fail to beat one opponent in a single round, you must do the whole round over again from the start, compared to the PSN version where you would just have to redo the opponents you lost to. Much more forgiving. The visuals have also been cleaned up well. For video footage that was shot in the early 90s, they sure did manage to do a decent cleanup job. The presentation itself is also pretty good in both versions. They fit the theme of the game well, and it's very pleasant to look at. The Wii version also has a nice effect where the gun sound effect plays through the Wiimote speaker, but it sounds awkward when playing with the Wii remote speaker turned off. Same thing applies to Mad Dog McCree Gunslinger Pack, also on the Wii. Though I can't help but feel that some opponents that were more common in the WiiWare version, Good and Bad, Parks and Rec, Holster Harry to name a few, aren't as common in the PSN version. Though we do get some opponents that aren't in the WiiWare version. These include Fast Fritz, Alamo Jones, Butterfingers Fred, and Marshall, just to name 4. And yes, that last one, that's his actual name. I swear to God, I did not make that up. There's also a multiplayer mode that I don't know anything about because I've never tried it because I don't have anyone else to play this game with me at the moment. Such a shame. Though, I've heard it's not much different from the main game. So is this game worth it? Well, I would say both versions have their issues. The PS3 version seems to be the better version of the two just for the fact that they fixed the split-second delay. The only thing the WiiWare version seems to have going for it, other than being half-priced, is that certain opponents appear more often than others. Other than that, they're not really that different save for some UI changes. I would suggest getting the PS3 version if you can, but maybe wait for a sale if you're not a die-hard fan. Fast Draw Showdown is an enjoyable game with a fun concept that gets hard later on. The characters are pretty lively, the controls work well, and it will give you a rush. However, some opponents are less common in the PS3 version compared to the WiiWare version. The WiiWare version has a split-second delay when drawing your gun. The replayability can be a bit low, and I can't really say anything about the multiplayer. With that said, this can be an enjoyable game at times for any fans of light gun games, but non-diehard fans should wait for a sale before trying. I give the PSN version of Fast Draw Showdown a 3.5 out of 5, and due to the WiiWare split-second delay problem, I'll give it a 2.75 out of 5. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, click the big red button below to subscribe. If you want to further support the channel and see exclusive content you can't get anywhere else, visit my Patreon. Click the icon or the link in the description. To see more content like this, click the playlist on the screen. Thanks once again, and I'll see you next time.